Hello, everyone. I'm Bethany. Okay, here. Today my presentation is kind of a modified version of what I used for my defense a few months ago. So it's about understanding teachers' engagement with OER that was developed by Local for Local in Lebanon. So what makes me interested about OER is this phrase about democratizing education. I've worked in nonprofits about access to quality education, but those two terms are very contextualized. So OER allows you to think about access both to receiving and sharing resources, and this quality that reflects the lived experience and knowledge of those who are using them. This is also called localization, so modifying resources to fit the context of use. But it's a social practice, so it's an active form of making sure that individual knowledge is represented in resources. And so to continue this idea of localization, Rinto, Hodgkins, Williams, and Trotter had created this social inclusion model, studying social inclusion or this localization, particularly in the global South, thinking about the levels of engagement of someone in the OER process, mapping onto being these terms of social inclusion. So since it's kind of small, we got use here at the bottom level where you're just accessing things as is, or adapting where you're part of modifying resources to fit your use, or creation where you are working to co-create resources. And so they studied this, a lot of cases that were more at the program level, thinking about OER for more widely distribution. And so I'm adding a case study that was for creating OER for more specific students in schools. And so this all begins with Lebanese Alternative Learning, or LAL, and their online platform called Tabshura, which means chalkboard in Arabic. And so this group, you can read their motto here about aiming to expand their reach to as many people as possible, having education available anytime, anywhere. So you can see the language that they're using is related to openness, but they don't actually use the word open. We've talked about it. They're very aware of openness, but in their mindset, they don't have the current capacity to think about licensing. And so that's the direction they were thinking. So together, though, we were asking these two questions about how they present it as open, and then how the teachers that are engaging with it, how this is an act of openness. So just to set the context, this is all in Lebanon, and then you can tell that it's a very beautiful place, a lot of history. But so I started this study in 2023, and so at this time, and still they're dealing with multiple crises at once. This is a photo to represent they had a massive economic crisis, currency losing 90% of its value. This is a picture of a bank there. You can see thieves are graffitied on it, so it's not just loss of money, it's loss of trust. Different shopping areas are closed, they're experiencing blackouts. And then in 2020, they had the big Beirut port explosion, which was the largest non-nuclear explosion. And they closed, a lot of schools in the area as well. And then, of course, there's just signs of both past and then current conflict that has also resulted in Lebanon having the most refugees per capita, 1.5 million, and then also 1 million students that are out of school, and 40% of those are refugees, mostly from Syria. And then also with the escalation currently with Israel that has internally displaced more than 1 million students. So there's just a lot of enclosed or repurposed schools. So there's a lot of inconsistency in being able to physically attend school. But through all these crises, there's all these teachers that are working towards still maintaining some kind of consistency for education, thinking about that quality. And then particularly these teachers are representing schools that were open, particularly for refugees. And so I want to make sure that they're shown to show that they're behind all this work. And then these lovely people too, spelling out law with their arms there, the organization I worked with. And so, so even though these teachers are the ones that are responsible for trying to still figure out how to do this, they're living in these circumstances as well. And so law has decided to find ways to support them. And so that's through Tabshura, which is this digital online platform that houses content equivalent of grades K through 9. It's aligned with the official curriculum. It's in all 3 major languages. There's math, science, languages, but the important part here is that it was created with current and former teachers, so it was always created with teachers in mind, how it would support them. You can see it has a large reach, but they were always wondering, how are people using it? They have relationships with certain schools, but their reach goes beyond their personal relationships. So together, and this is also just to show kind of what it looks like. It's also an app form, so you can access it on your mobile device. So it's more than just text on a screen. It's very interactive. There's exercises, there's characters, there's stories and everything. So the research design was a case study. These 2 questions, the first one is influenced by ethnographic methods, and the second one is more by this photo voice methods. And I'll be focusing more on the second question right now. And so photo voice, just briefly, is someone responds to a prompt with a photo and a caption, and then you're following up with interviews and observations. And so just to note that the first question about how Tabshura is presented as open, it's mostly the relationship with how teachers are involved in each process, both before it was created, during it, and then their future plans. But to focus more on the second question, this photo voice, there was 12 teachers involved in the photo, responding to a prompt with a photo across 4 schools. So I had 91 photos in the end. And then the interviews and observations were across 3 schools. 1 was represented in the photo portion. And all these schools were mostly early education schools, or those they call basic literacy and numeracy, those who have students that were older than the grade that might reflect, but that shows they've had gaps in their education. So these are the captions that I used that they responded to. I had them submit 2 photos in response to these prompts that all related to like how they were experienced engaging with Tabshura. So just literally what they do with it, what they changed about it, what they liked about it, and what their students liked. And this is just a brief explanation. I'll have a workshop later more about photo voice, but this is type of coding that you can do from photos is emergent analytical coding. So this is a typical photo I would receive, and then you would start listing features that you see. So always look, at the context of it, but then also what the people are doing in the photos. And you would do this for the photo, the caption, and then together. So from this process, seeing how teachers are engaging with it is the types of decisions that they're able to make, how they have confidence in the resource, and how they're able to build community by using this. So when they made decisions, 17 out of the 22 total teachers talked about how it allowed them to create alternative learning spaces, focusing on being able to learn at home and at the school since they're experiencing that inconsistency. All of them talked about how it's fit right into the curriculum that they were already using. And then one school talked about how they were able to edit and create content. And so this quote here from Teacher Q talks about like this idea of being able to rely on what they're teaching at school mirrors what they are be able to continue with using this platform at home. So it's a typical photo I'd receive of a student working on the app at home. And then teachers also talked about how they were able to adapt the resources. This photo here, and I can't read what she's writing on the whiteboard, but she's talking about adjectives. And so she uses, does her lesson and uses Tabshura to supplement it. So she is still in control of how the resource is being used in the classroom. And then another administrator talked about how they were able to simplify lessons because they have students who have never been at school before. So how, even though they have a designed program on this resource, they can modify it to fit each student's needs because there's a wide variety of education backgrounds. And then 9 teachers really talked about how they're able to do independent work with their students. They can do, their own pace. They can redo activities until they feel comfortable and feel successful at it. And then the second photo also represents 14 teachers talked about the collaboration that they were able to do. So this idea of inciting competitiveness, happiness, joy, eagerness, obviously those are all things we want from all students, but particularly in these circumstances when there's so many other distractions, that being able to inspire kids to continue learning. And then the other bucket is that they had confidence in it, that 11 of them talked about being the reliability of it, that it was relevant to their curriculum. Usefulness, a lot of it was this focus on modern technology, that they were able to implement that and expose students to that part of learning. And then I think it was like most of the teachers, 17 out of them, talked about the personal benefits, how they were able to learn from the resource too. So here teacher R talked about how they were able to rely on it because their own children were in more traditional schooling, and they didn't see the difference in the quality from what they were using on Tapsura in their school versus what their own children were learning. And then teacher S talked about how she had a French background, and so she wasn't as comfortable teaching students English, but how the app allowed her to learn how to pronounce things and feel more comfortable. So how she learned through using the app too. And as I said, these teachers are experiencing the same circumstances as their students often. So they themselves are finding joy. This teacher labeled this as her favorite session, that they have fun, that they are feeling engaged and motivated through it too. And then finally, the community, 5 teachers talked about their experience being able to work with Law, the nonprofit itself, how it supported them within their schools, with parents, and then with students. And so this law, or this first one is about within their school, they're able to create whole systems in order to support this initiative in their school, adopting it across the school. And then, being able to work with law directly was important not only for technical issues, but this is how they could create content. They would tell them they needed more lessons, and together they would create more. And then this represents this photo is that the older student in this photo does not go to a school with Tapsura in it, but together, because the younger sibling has it at home, is also benefiting from it, learning from each other. And then there was a big emphasis on the relationship with parents, both that teachers and parents had a different relationship where parents were exposed to what was going on in the classroom, and so there's this gratitude towards the teachers, but also that the parents themselves were learning from the app. They also might have gaps in their own education, so how they were learning from it. And then this is these two go together, where a student wrote their teacher basically like a love letter explaining how much the teacher supported their learning, but particularly through Tapsura, because it was not just learning the material, but learning confidence, because they were able to go at their own pace, repeat things, so they lost this fear of making errors in school. And so all this works together to kind of nuance and expand this idea of that social inclusion model, where we have using the platform as is, but we're also adapting the different resources to fit the different contexts of students, the different education backgrounds, and also being able to create supplemental materials, being able to still create their own lessons. They're able to do make these decisions because it's built on this confidence that the platform is relevant to them, since it was created with, by and for current teachers. And it's grounded in this idea of community within all these different partners. So they had agency throughout the use of this resource, because they were able to take the circumstances that they were in, make the decisions they needed in order to meet these goals that they had. And so the final implications is just being able to expand understanding what it means to use and adapt and create OER at the school level, particularly because of the local participants that are involved in it, and just learning how it can support teachers in all different types of circumstances. And just to conclude it, is just that we're summary, the biggest implication for the teachers was that for them it was like a new start, a new way to approach schooling. There we go. Thank you.